I used to think love was something you found quickly, like a spark, a sudden flame that lit up your world without warning. I saw it in movies, heard it in songs, watched it unfold in the lives of people around me. It always looked so simple. Two people meet, their eyes lock, and everything just falls into place. But that wasn't my story. Mine was quieter, slower, and at times, painfully uncertain. For a long time, I waited. Not the kind of waiting where you sit still and count the days, but the kind where life moves forward, yet something inside you feels paused. Like a page in your story had been left blank, and no matter how much you tried to fill it with other things, friends, laughter, dreams, there was always that empty space. I told myself I was fine, that love wasn't everything, that maybe I wasn't meant for it, or maybe it would come later. Much later. Still, there were nights. Nights when silence felt heavier than usual, when I would stare at the ceiling and wonder what it would feel like to be chosen, to be understood without explaining every piece of myself, to be seen, truly seen, and not turned away. I met people along the way, of course. Some were kind, some were exciting, some made promises that sounded like forever. But none of them stayed. And if they didn't stay in the way I needed. It was always almost, almost right, almost enough, almost love. And almost has a way of breaking your heart more than nothing at all. So I built walls. Not the obvious kind. Mine were subtle. Smiles that didn't go too deep. Conversations that never touched the parts of me that ached the most. I became good at pretending. Good at making it seem like I didn't need what I secretly longed for. Time passed. Days turned into months, and months into years. I grew, changed, learned things about myself I hadn't known before. I discovered strength in solitude, peace in my own company. I learned how to laugh alone, how to heal alone, how to be whole, alone. And slowly, something shifted. The waiting didn't feel as heavy anymore. It wasn't that I stopped believing in love. It was that I stopped chasing it. I stopped trying to force it into my life like it was something I could control. Instead, I let life happen. I let myself breathe. And that's when you appeared. Not like a storm, not like a sudden fire. You came into my life like a quiet morning, soft, gentle, almost unnoticed at first. I remember the day we met. There was nothing extraordinary about it. No dramatic music, no grand moment where the world seemed to stop. Just a simple interaction, a passing exchange of words that, at the time, meant nothing. Or so I thought. But there was something in the way you listened. Not just hearing me, but truly listening, as if every word I spoke mattered, as if I mattered. It caught me off guard. I wasn't used to that, so I kept my distance. I told myself not to read into it, not to hope, not to fall into that familiar trap of almost. I had learned my lesson, hadn't I? But you were patient. You didn't rush me. You didn't demand anything from me. You simply stayed. Day by day, conversation by conversation, you stayed. And slowly, without realizing it, I began to let my guard down. It started with small things. A laugh that came a little too easily, a story I wouldn't normally share, a moment where I forgot to hold back. And each time you met me with the same warmth, the same quiet understanding. There was no pressure, no expectations, just comfort. And that scared me more than anything, because comfort meant safety, and safety meant vulnerability, and vulnerability meant I could get hurt again, so I pulled back. I remember that moment clearly, the day I almost walked away, the day I told myself it was better to leave before things got too real, before I became too attached. I thought I was protecting myself. But you didn't chase me. You didn't beg me to stay. Instead, you gave me space, and somehow that made me stop. Because for the first time, I wasn't being held onto out of fear or need. I was being given the choice to stay. And I realized something then. Love, real love, doesn't trap you. It doesn't force you. It doesn't make you feel like you're losing yourself. It gives you room to breathe. So I came back. Not all at once, not perfectly, but little by little. And you were still there. No anger, no resentment, just the same quiet presence that had been there from the beginning. That's when I knew. This wasn't almost. This was something real, something steady, something worth the risk. We grew together in ways I never expected. There were no grand gestures, no dramatic declarations, just small, meaningful moments that slowly built something strong. The way you remembered the little things about me, the way you noticed when I wasn't okay, even when I tried to hide it, the way you made ordinary days feel special, and the way you loved me. Not the version of me I tried to present to the world, but the real me, the flawed, complicated, sometimes broken version of me. You saw it all, and you stayed. Do you know how rare that is? To be known completely and still be loved? I had waited for something like that my whole life, but I never imagined it would feel like this. I thought love would be loud, overwhelming, impossible to ignore, but with you it was quiet, peaceful, like coming home after a long journey without even realizing you were lost. And one day, it hit me. There was no dramatic moment, no single event that changed everything, just a simple, undeniable truth that settled gently in my heart. I wasn't waiting anymore, because the love I had been waiting for was you. Not perfect, not magical in the way stories make it seem, but real. And that was more beautiful than anything I had ever imagined. Now, when I look back at all those years of waiting, I don't feel sadness. I understand. I understand that I needed that time to grow, to learn, to become someone who could recognize and appreciate the kind of love you offer. Because if I had met you back then, I might not have understood. I might have taken you for granted or worse. I might have walked away. But I didn't. Not this time. This time I stayed. And so did you. And together, we built something that didn't fade with time, something that didn't depend on perfection or constant excitement. We built something real. The love I waited for wasn't about finding someone who completed me. It was about finding someone who walked beside me, someone who chose me every day in the simplest, quietest ways. And I chose you, every day. Even in the hard moments, even when things aren't easy, even when life tries to pull us in different directions. Because now I know, love isn't something you rush, it's something you grow. And sometimes, the most beautiful love stories aren't the ones that happen quickly. They're the ones that take time, the ones that teach you patience, resilience, and hope. The ones that make you wait until you finally find something worth everything you've been through. And if someone asked me today if I believe in love at first sight, I would smile, because I've learned something better. I believe in the kind of love that stays, the kind of love that grows quietly, steadily, and deeply. The kind of love you don't just find, but recognize and hold on to forever. Because in the end, the love I waited for was worth the wait.